Thank you very much for accepting this interview.
You're welcome.
It's just it's such an honor and special for you to accept it. I want you to introduce yourself. Who am I talking to?
Well, you're talking to one person who goes by different titles, I guess. Officially, my father and my mother named me Gift Isabellah Akinyi Arwa. Others know me as Bella, others know me as Gift, others know me as Gift Bella. I am a recent graduate, Bachelor of Science in Communication and International Studies. I am also a poet. I am a sister, an aunt, a daughter, and very single, but very motivated as well. I'm also a singer and I write music. I also write stories for children. I enjoy kids a lot. That is me in a nutshell. Billie Jeans of all trades, maybe. Yeah, because I'm also part-time, full-time, actually, philosopher. So, yeah.
All right, very interesting. Before we talk about your arts, your music, poems, and so on, you've got an interesting name, Gift. Can you describe why? I don't know if you're asking your parents why did they give you this name, Gift?
Yes, actually, I have. My dad just says, "Well, you're a gift." Other aunties who want to sound very interesting have said I was a gift to my mother. My mother died when I was very young, and she was very sick at that time, and so she gave birth to me, and I think gifted just fitted the occasion. Yeah. But I'm also poisonous. I came to learn in Denmark because my name means poison. And so upon reflection, I have really thought about whether I was a poisonous situation, just that my parents didn't tell me. But I believe that for some reason I made my mom happy, or I want to believe that to make myself feel good, I guess. Yeah, that's why I'm called Gift.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Actually, I forgot that in Danish, gift means poison, right?
It also means married. That's why I had to say I'm also single.
Exactly, it's true.
It's very true.
That, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, but I hope very soon we won't be able to be single no more.
The other day I told my dad I don't want to get married, that he should tell me. In my culture, we have a dowry situation where you don't pay. It's a gift you give to parents, and it's an appreciation sign, right? That you're taking their daughter and you appreciate what they've done for you as a man or a woman. The other day I told my dad, I'm not getting married, just tell me the number of cows. And he said the same thing as you. It's not gonna be so long, and I'm just like that.
I don't know if you told me exactly where you were born, but your accent is like someone from England. Where are you from and where's your accent? I'm interested to know about it. Yeah.
I thought this day will come when all the people I have told the different versions of the story will see the same footage and go like, But the best way I can explain it, I love languages. And in my country, we speak Swahili and English. It's the first language you're taught when you go to school. And for some reason, I have always enjoyed everything British. And in my education, both early and afterwards, I have had a lot of British influences, being mentors and stuff like that. And I could say I have acquired the nature of speaking, but it started when I was 7 or 8. So I kind of don't know. I think it's with the education and the type of the teachers I had, with the type of pronunciations. And it's just when I speak Danish, people say I sound Danish because I use the Danish accent. So if I speak Swahili right now, you'll be like, because Swahili sounds very different, right? It has a different flow. And I'm an artist. I like music, so maybe it's my ear is very good at listening.
But then you are Kenyan, born in Kenya, raised in Kenya.
Raised in Kenya. My dad is fully Kenyan. My mom, I hope she was fully Kenyan. My brothers as well. I came to Denmark a few years ago for my schooling, and I had never traveled the world before that, except through books. I have really loved literature, so if you ask me where I've been through the world, I could mention different authors that have taken me across the globe. And yeah, until a few years ago, I was just a simple Kenyan girl who spoke a British accent.
Yeah, we're going to talk about your book, your love of book reading. But the question is, why did you choose to come and study in Denmark?
Well, here in Denmark, my sister, first of all, is here. I love my sister so much. She's my big sister. She's been here a while. And so it was just that kind of social capital. The people I know best is my sister. And so I was in university back home where I had done a few years of it. And I decided with all the strikes and everything that was going on, I was going to find something to do. Because unlike Denmark, in my country, you don't have jobs for students. You know, in Kenya, you don't have extra income if you're not in school. If you're in school, your parents pay everything, right? And so if you're not, then your dad and your mom will just be like, what do you need money for? I'm feeding you, you're under my roof. Not that my parents were like that, but my sister saw that as the opportunity to expose me to Denmark. And so she asked me to come and visit, just for the sake of using the time I had. And then I came to Denmark and I fell in love with it.
And how have you been so far?
Wow. It's been life. It's been life. Before I could say it's been amazing when I'm talking to different people, especially people from my country, maybe to comfort them that there's a better life out there, which there is. And then when I felt like whining and complaining, I would say, it's horrible, I don't like it here, it's cold and everything. And until recently, I just learned that is life. But it has been very eye-opening, culture shock, and I'm just a graduate, so my education has also gone up, and my experiences in love and with music and my sexual knowledge, I will explain, has also increased.
People would like to understand
sexual knowledge. No, it's just the awareness, you know, the awareness of how broad gender and sex, the spectrums are. It's been eye-opening. I've enjoyed it, and I'm still enjoying it. I hope to enjoy it a bit longer. Now in just a different chapter. It was a bit hectic the last 3 years, but now I think the heavens are raining, so blessings opening.
Well, is it summer? We both rain and
I have this saying that in Denmark you can see all the 4 seasons in one day. If you're lucky, you can see them in 1 hour. You can see summer, winter, and autumn in 1 hour, depending on where you are. Maybe I'm right.
That is Denmark. It's not the same in Kenya, right?
No, actually, no.
Tell me about your life in Kenya. How?
What about my life? Is it like
You said that you talk about the culture shock when you came to Denmark, right? Now you talk about this 4 seasons 1 day or 1 hour.
Okay.
Denmark, come here, culture shock, and all the things here.
I will use the comparison of my school life because that's the best life. So as I've said, I went to Moi University, Eldoret in Kenya, where I was doing communication and public relation. I deferred that course when I came to Denmark. And then I had the Danish system of education at Roskilde University, Global Humanities. And it was very funny because in my country, I was in a public university. Here in Denmark, I was also in I would consider it a public university. However, in my university, we were broke. We were all broke. That's the one thing that we were all broke. We all lived in, in Kenyan universities, you have collegiums, what we would call collegiums in Denmark. We have them as hostels in my country. So you'd find a block with 3,000 students because it's all the students live within the school. Only the rich kids live outside. Then I came to Denmark and I remember I found it very fancy that I now had an apartment outside school. But the social life also is very different. I think in my country I miss because of that nature of all being together and having the same struggles, you understand a bit more of, hey, today I don't have it, so you better give it to me because tomorrow your parents are gonna call you and tell you how broke they are. So there's just a togetherness that I lacked in Denmark, that I have lacked. I have not seen it. There's an individualism in Denmark that is not so in my country. And the weather, oh my God, the weather is it's like a fantasy movie. I feel like, it's like a sci-fi movie. In my country, it's long rains, then dry season, then short rains. We don't have summer, winter, autumn, or anything. So here, I feel like time has been moving a bit faster because I can see the seasons change. Now I know it's summer, it's June. In my country, June and January look almost the same, except for the rain. So you never know. Time there goes slower, I guess. So yeah, there's a lot of culture shock.
Let's talk now about your art.
My art.
You are a musician.
Yes.
You're a poet. Tell me about this life of yours.
Okay. Well, this life can be told in two ways. There's a younger version of me that would tell you I used to sing in a church. I used to be in the church choir. In high school, I was a music student. I tried joining the band here and there. Then in university, I joined a bit of, the university bands in Moi University. And I realized I could sing. I also used to do something when I was younger that I now have a name for, but then my earlier version of the story would be, I would like reading stories. I see the life, the world we live in movies. So I like relating movies and real life or stories that I read in books and bring them to life. So I started writing words, and then I would make up stories about the people I'm seeing around. So for example, you're wearing a denim jacket, I would sit and then look outside the window, there's a lady in pink, and I'd be like, just another day, me seated at home, talking to a stranger in a denim short, and I can see the lady in pink who's just shopping from Netto, and just like that, I would do random things like that, but I never tried it. And then in high school, I started during the Sunday church service. I would say I have a presentation, and I would go there and say, sometimes I'd write the piece 5 minutes before I have to present, and then I'd go there and mess the whole piece up, but make something else. So I learned that I could also improvise on stage, but I never did it professionally. Fast forward, the second version of the story, I come to Denmark, and I have this freedom of exploring all these options now. I have this canvas, right? And I got introduced to slam poetry, which I knew before. And yeah, I started performing for real, like in front of crowds and actually selling tickets for shows, which I have done a few in small scale, but they've been quite amazing actually. So what I do is as I've said, I'm a storyteller, hence the talking too much. I'm a storyteller and I'm a poet, meaning I write poetry, especially spoken word, because there are two different versions.
Yes, I want you to describe, because some people, they don't know exactly what is spoken word, what is poetry. If you can just put it together, not put it together, but try to, differentiate, people to understand what it is exactly.
Yes, so what I do is spoken word, and for that I will speak on it because I do know and understand it better. What I do is I fuse the normal sort of old school poetry that you would find in your English literature. For example, the sun shone and the birds flew, or you'd read from different novels. But then spoken word is more almost like a slow rap. It's normally based on current affairs, but it could also be about magical fantasies or whatever, but it's based on half rap, half speaking, and half poetry with rhymes and everything, and being musical, right? And that's what makes it different from poetry to me. Poetry follows a lot of rules. So if you have a bar of 16, you have a bar of 16, you know? And if you have this style of poetry, then it sticks that way. With slam poetry, especially spoken word, the way I do it is, today I'm going to do it without music. But if you look at some of my videos, there's music involved. So I think spoken word is a mix of actual spoken words, things you want to say, but you do it musically and in a set rhythm or something.
What you write about?
I write about my life. I write about my life and the things I see.
How is your life that you write?
I write about my love life. I write about my upbringing. I write about the people I have hurt and the people who've hurt me. I write about topics I think are important to, like, for me to speak out. I let it out through my poetry. For example, I understand a lot about family dissociation and family traumas now that I've finished my education. So I try to involve that in my poetry. A bit of my experiences as well. Yeah, mostly it's very personal to me. But what I do to make it relate to people is that I involve things that people watch. For example, I have a poem called The Lone Wolf. And in that poem, I talk about my journey, having broken somebody's heart, and someone having broken my heart, right? And I talk about how the culture shock I experienced when I come to Denmark. But because since it's a very personal experience, I use Game of Thrones, one of my best films. I think it's incredibly made. And in that, I put some characters. So there is a verse that would go like, just like Jon Snow, I got shocked when I got to the North Pole, because nobody ever tells you how cold it can get, that when you ain't even at the top yet, everybody knows what from you they can get. And the rain can't even get you wet, and your brain only focuses on the debt. But not even losing 6 billion will make me sweat or stop looking fly, like the Facebook guy. Just like the eagles, I'll continue to fly with the eagles and watch while the pigeons try to throw some shade, knowing that I'm Slim Shady inspired. And just like him, I got some stans obsessed with an illusion of me that they think I am. And I go on to say, I'm my own alpha and omega. I'm my own Criminal Minds team. I'm the guy with the books and the guy with the good genes. Go ahead, call me Billie Jeans. So I kind of take different references, both in music and in movies and in stories or books that I have read. And I use those characters and I mash them in my own life. So if I had something, for example, I have a lot to tell you, right? I can decide to give you a song. I can tell you, go listen to this song. You'll know all about me, because I find that song relates to me. Yeah.
You talk about broken heart. Did someone broke your heart? Did you broke many people's hearts?
I broke someone's heart. I broke someone's heart. But then I have gone beyond that, I think. I have learned from it. I think love is, having the gift to experience love is, and losing it, now I see it as a gift, because then I would not be the person I am today if I had not gone through that experience. I could have been better, but not the person I am today. But yeah, talking of broken hearts, I have learned my lesson in a hard way, and unfortunately it had to involve me hurting someone else. But then all is forgiven and all is well. So now I'm past it. I think I don't blame myself, because I think in those times, the me that is here now would not be able to make the decisions of the me that made those decisions earlier, if that makes sense. I cannot go back and look at myself then and say, I cannot look at myself now and be like, what the fuck was I thinking? Sorry for cussing. What the hell was I thinking, you know? But at that time, if I was to go back into that exact time, I was thinking and I knew what I was doing, but maybe I didn't see options out, or maybe I was doing it, you know, finding words for it. So I cannot look at myself at that time, because I'm two different people now. And apologies have been said, and, you know, and lessons have been learned.
So you're kind of ready, not committing the same mistakes that you did in the past?
Oh yeah, I am 100% sure. And maybe that's why I'm very slow at committing myself to somebody right now, because I know I would never do the same thing twice. No, not what I did. It cost me something that I would never, it cost me the lack of knowing. I will always have a what if now. What if I had not done it? I cannot dwell there, I'm past that, but it will always be there now. So I cannot cause myself another situation where I go back and say, oh, what if I had just listened to myself the first time? So I'd rather wait. I'd rather wait and do things differently, so not to get the same results. And I guess that goes by me working on myself first. You know, looking at that girl and promising that girl I'm not gonna make her lose whatever she lost again, if it comes her way again. If it doesn't, I could happily die saying I have lived and I have loved, and that's enough. Right?
I don't want to go too much on the love side. You know,
yeah, what?
But
everything is about love.
What do you say?
Everything is about love. There's this quote written in the Studenterhuso toilet, I think. It says, in this life, it's only about three things. It's about sex, money, and I think if it's not love, it's women. But I don't know why I'm thinking love. So life only revolves around those two. Because the opposite of love is what causes hate. The opposite of hate is what causes people to come together and build the works together.
Wow, interesting.
Cool, right?
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. How it come this? Well, I put it the word love of reading.
I think you remember that thing I said about growing up. I love my family, and I always say right now I know things better, and I'd rather speak them the way I know them and understand them, so that it's not said that you knew better. I fell in love with books because I think my father is a smart, intelligent man, and my mom must have been a genius as well. I could accredit it to its DNA. No, I'm joking. I'm joking. I'm joking. No. But they are quite intelligent. I don't know about smart, but I know. Oh, no, they are smart. They must have been, because there's me. Again, I'm joking. I fell in love with books because I think at some point I used books for an escape. I am what now I describe as dorky. It's not the same meaning you see on, I have my own meanings. I find these names that people use in a negative sentiment. For example, if someone told me I'm weird, I would smile at it and say, oh yeah, I like that. I like that I'm not normal. I like that a lot. And dorky is one of the words I describe myself as. But now I realize I fell in love with books because as a child, I never just fitted in. I always felt that, you know, the way people have these groups of friends and things like that. I never did that. I tried. I really tried. And sometimes maybe I tried too hard. So I would go into impressing people too much that in the end of the day, when I did not deliver their expectations, I became fake, right? And other times it would be like, I would create bonds, but then I would just realize, oh, I'm the one who came to the group late. So there's already a tighter bond. I just never fitted in. But then when it came to books, that one I understood, you know? That one, and I went to school where we would be beaten if you don't perform as well. Like, we'd get spanking on our bums and everything. And so I remember sometimes I would get in trouble to get attention, you know? I would literally, because I was craving that, I need someone to get to know me, but I don't know that. But then if I wasn't causing trouble, I swear to God, if I wasn't being called in the teacher's office to be punished for something, I was really struggling to read, because that was me. It was my way of just going in, you know. And so I was interested. I remember my teachers can tell you when I was 9, I decided to write an essay about what is life. And I just went around the school with a notebook every time, because I remember I had no friends and I had nothing to do during break time. So I would just go to the teacher's staff room and then be like, teacher, what is life? And then they would get pissed off because I'm disturbing them during break. But then some of them literally took their dictionaries and they would tell me, just go and read what is life in the dictionary. And then I'll say, it's when you breathe in and out. But what is breathing in and out? So I think I fell in love with books as, that's the honest God's truth, as a getaway. And then I fell in love with it, you know.
Did you ever get an answer, what is life? Or did you ever accept
Life is
yourself
what
and
you
find
make
yourself
it.
as life?
Life is what you make it. Life is what you make it.
Interesting.
Life is what you make it. There's no, I think the world gives birth to you. I believe a lot in the universe.
Yeah.
I believe in God. I'm not religious, I'm spiritual.
Actually, I was up to ask you this question in the beginning, or think to ask you if you're a religious person or not, but you already answered me before even ask you.
Yeah, I consider myself, I have gone through a lot of religions, by the way. My dad is very religious, I have to say that. My stepmother is also very religious, God bless her soul. And my mom was a bit hard-headed. I know one of the stories I hear about her is she refused to convert until she was dying, and then my dad was just like, But then that's besides it. I'm not much about people's religions or things like that.
But when the point you decide, I don't know if it was your decision or just...
It was my decision.
Right,
It was. I think I gave up on it a long time ago because I knew there was opinion, my personal opinion, nobody's opinion, this is just me. I thought there was a problem with the sort of religion that was being presented to me. So as I've said, I have been a Seventh-day Adventist because I would go to church with my uncle. So I've been there. I've been a Catholic because when my dad met my stepmother, she was a Catholic. So I had to go to church with my stepsisters. I've been an Anglican because I thought Catholic was too strict and I had finished catechism. So I thought maybe Anglican is more fun. We can dance around in church like way better. Then I did, I decided to convert to Muslim for 3 months. That was a very interesting experience. I could not do it. Only a few people knew I did it. I could not. Again, I said no. And then I came and I found out that, hey, there's 2 things I know. And the thing I know is I believe in God. And I cannot explain why the world is as it is. I can't explain why the universe works the way it is. Everything else is just everybody's, in my own opinion, is just everybody's interpretation. I have had a lot very different interpretations of those. But the only 2 things I am sure that nobody has been able to explain to me is who the fuck is God and why does the sun do its thing? So if you ask me what do I believe in, I wake up in the morning, I talk to myself, and I ask the universe to do its thing. I say, if God exists, he knows what he has to do, and I know what I have to do. So mostly I pray talking to myself.
maybe one day you'll have the answer. Who is God? Probably somebody will come and tell you, and I hope so.
Oh my God!
Because you have been going to different kind of church or religion, and you didn't get an answer. So I hope somehow, some way, we'll be able to get this answer.
Yeah, if someone came and told me this is how the universe works, even if I found out proof that we were living in a matrix, I'd be like, aliens, I worship your ass, you are awesome. Like, if you could just, I would befriend the aliens, by the way. Yeah. I'm open-minded. All I'm saying is I'm open-minded, but then I know with my belief system and the way it operates, the things it has done for me. So, yeah, but I'm open-minded to see who hits me. You never know everything.
Right.
When you think you know everything, someone shocks you and they show you know nothing.
Let's talk about the challenge that you have here in Denmark, both at your school, the language. Especially, I want to hear on. I don't know if you're in the process of writing or publish a book. So I want to hear all this challenge that you face here in Denmark.
Well, hey, where do I start? Chai, this is where you say trouble no go finish. As in every day you wake up in a different wahala. But anyway, where do I start? First of all, I came to Denmark. I was an au pair. I can't talk about the exact situation due to I signed an NDA. But then one of the first experiences I had coming to Denmark gave me the biggest culture shock. It was my first touch with a bit of racism and someone putting me at a lower class than I was or than I thought myself. It was the first time that, the things I read, the Kenyans would understand. The books from Damu Nyeusi or Things Fall Apart by Chinua Achebe, or what's the other one? I've forgotten it. But then now I was seeing these things here. I was getting the first bit of it. That ended with a settlement. But then later on, I joined school. And then a new challenge arose because I realized I love school, right? But then in Denmark, as a non-EU citizen, you pay to go to school. It is expensive. It is really expensive. And there was this challenge of, do I have to go back and talk to my parents? I'm telling my dad to stop paying 10,000 Kenyan shillings every semester to pay 1 million Kenyan shillings every semester. I wasn't going to do that. So if I chose to stay here, I had to do that. I joined school and then the struggle began. Fortunately for me, I have been lucky enough to have very good jobs and very understanding bosses, in the sense that the people who I have worked with have been able to help. Sometimes I would even get, prepayments. So then the next month I knew I wasn't getting paid. But then when it was time to pay school fees, I would deliver it. Now I feel like this is that end of the year because I've finished education. Actually, I have finished. Finally, I have finished it. Thank God. And I passed. Thank you. But then I'm a graduate and I'm looking for a job. No, I'm not. I am. Cut that part out, by the way. No, okay, back to what I was saying. And I have had also a very supporting system around me, back in hindsight. But the biggest challenge, I think it's loneliness. I actually wrote a thesis. My thesis paper has been on the life of a non-EU student at Roskilde. It's funny you ask that. And we go through a lot. You have to deal with the migration and the fact that you don't even have, you can't rely on your family basically. You can, but if your family is not wealthy, how many problems are you willing to give your family that is already struggling in the name of trying to find an education, And then you come here and the language, you can't understand it. And I remember I was lucky enough to learn Danish because as an au pair, so I learned it a bit quicker. But then in my project, I talk about girls who don't speak any Danish. And one of the biggest struggles for even me who understands it and not all of it has been, you can't make friends. Like, because every time you're in school, you're talking English and then the rest of the people are talking Danish. And you'll meet a few Africans here and there. I'll speak on behalf of an African because I am one. And sometimes you meet the good ones like you who are up to actually doing stuff and getting to know you. Other times you meet people who just think any word they tell you is a competition. And there's this weird nature of, if I'm better than you, then that can't happen. But that's not the case, right? And then you have to deal with a lot of debt. Shit. But then and I was a student during COVID, which was even worse. It's horrible.
Yeah.
It's horrible. But when you finish it, you
feel relief.
You feel relief, but then you also have the unsurety of whether you'll get a job, because you're thinking, all this investment that I have made, to what is it worth? I haven't been home for 5 years. I would have loved to go home at any time, but I couldn't, because every single coin I got first had to go to school fees, then consider other things. I could easily sit here and say school might have just cost me a relationship.
Did?
It did.
Well, sorry to hear that, but also you need to get that education, right?
And this is where someone is gonna watch this and look at me and think, was it worth it? And then you have this, what if I had not? But what if? We can't live there now. What's done is done. The past is the past, and that is that.
I still am challenged, but just a quick question from what you just mentioned about home. Do you miss home?
Lord.
What must you miss?
I thought we're not supposed to be crying around people. I think I miss my.
I don't have your tissue, but you can cry.
I'll just. I think I miss. Oh shit. I miss my entire family. I actually think I miss my dad most. I am partly a daddy's girl. I miss my stepmom, actually. I miss her a lot as well. And the other day I was I was talking to my niece. Not the other day, that was a few months ago. I was talking to my niece and she didn't remember who I was, and she was like, Auntie who now? You know, like that kind of that kind of makes you feel ouch, I think, because then you go like, I don't want to time you call home, a lot has happened, because me here, it's my focus goes on my work, and I'm a bit of a lone wolf. So if I'm not working, I'm doing a project somewhere just to keep myself busy and not think about when is the next possible date that I can go home or see 1 or 2, 3 people. I miss the culture. I think I've been also shy to make friends because I don't understand the system of friendship in Denmark. So I kind of feel like I have lost friends from back home, because who I know if I go back home, they'll be like, hey, you dumped me, but it's cool. But then, I don't know. I miss everyone.
You miss everyone. We need to do something for you to come home. But maybe I'll ask you another question. Yeah. But the thing is, when it comes to, do you ever plan to publish a book for your... How are you working on it? How it is?
I am thinking, actually, I have been thinking of doing 2 things. I've been thinking of doing a blog post, which eventually leads to the book. But I have been thinking of working on a production, like a mini Walt Disney, for a Kenyan version. I would really love to work with that. I have written a few things.
Yeah.
I have been really nervous. I have to admit that I've been paying for a website that I haven't published, and I've been paying for it for 7 months because I've been trying to compile the stories, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there's stories about me, but they're told at a very different eye, and it's the story where I look at my life and the things I've experienced in different, for example, in school, the way I was treated in school, or the way I was treated as an au pair or something like that, or the way I grew up. But then I feel like, yeah, I am about to write a book. I don't know how much detail I want to give about it.
But I would like to know, what is your future in Denmark? Do you pretend to be living in Europe?
My future,
If you can not to predict, but what your plans are.
what I can manifest, you think?
Because the thing is, right now there is this new trend, right, where many people are leaving Europe or America to Africa. I don't know if this is a trend or people are really eager to, kind of moving back. Is you on this situation, this position that one day you like to go back?
Oh yeah. Oh, home sweet home. I really nyumbani mama. Of course I have to go back home. I feel like my future in Denmark, or in my life as a whole, is a step as I go along. For example, right now I'm working on a project that I hope will take me home. I posted it on my social media, by the way. And I was thinking, I finished school, and I'm lucky to have finished school. And I didn't know about this. I had, as a child, you hear stories and everything. But then I had not taken my time to actually do research on it. And so I went home and I saw this group of kids. They live under the bridge. But I know every place has street kids, but what got to me is that this is a very short distance from where I stay. But now that I know better with all the resources I have acquired, it touches me in a different way to think that, oh my God, those kids live like that. And so one of the projects that I feel like is taking me home is I intended to go there and start a center for them. Like a playground center. I love kids, but I play too much. And the idea was, there is a lot of rehab centers that take people that, force people into the rehab. But one of the projects that influenced me was one done in Denmark by a police officer and a nurse. And they made the parliament pass this bill where they have a drug zone in Copenhagen, in central Copenhagen, near the central of Copenhagen. And here heroin addicts and everybody come along and they take drugs over there. But then the difference between them taking drugs somewhere else and where here is that they have nurses and psychologists, and there's an ER and emergency and all these things, clean needles and stuff like that, in case something happens. And you give these people options. The more they come there, they get to meet the psychologists and they talk to them and stuff like that. But I saw these children, that's for adults, and it's doing well in Denmark. For me, I thought, these kids are like the ages of 6 to 9. They've just started smoking jet fuel. I honestly can sit down here and say, I told one of my friends, I wish they were smoking weed. I would live with them, trying to find a better evil, because they're 9 years old. And I thought, there's so much in Denmark. When I walk around, I've seen this storskrald and, all these things. And I'm in very many groups where people throw out things. And I said, I don't want money for it. I want the things they bring. And I'm going to go home and just set up a place where these kids, when their mothers and parents go out hustling, but they don't have money to send them to school, they can come in and play board games and read books and just play with each other away from the drugs. So yes, my future looks more in that direction, working with these kids and hoping to actually set up something that is a community based, that will take me home frequently, but also connects me to Denmark, because I feel like Denmark is also becoming part of me in some way, at least professionally. But you can't tie me down. If tomorrow life takes me to I don't know. If life takes me to Bangladesh, I'm off to Bangladesh. I'm spontaneous like that. You cannot restrict yourself. You go where the wind blows. You just remember to stay above the storm or become the storm. Well, ladies and gentlemen, and those of us in between, last night I took a walk, and with myself I had a talk. Honestly, it was just me, the we triad, i.e. me, myself, and Toto. And I swear tuliongea mambo moto moto. We detailed our future, driving cool motor cars. And we even smiled to the stars that were smiling back at us. It was making me stutter, just like I am right now. But it was really amazing as well. But while I detailed my future life, you see, I'm a man solo, and so detailing my future life to myself is the way of me telling myself I'm proud of you or you've let me down. You could call my life a remake of Star Wars, but maybe I'm Billie Jean Solo. Anyway, while I was literally walking the talk, at the same time on my wall clock, just a few meters aside, the terrorists' Glocks fired in that mall. I hear it's called Fields. And I could hear the birds scatter away in the fields because terror had befallen. So while I was listening to very beautiful cheers of kids on Tuli's merry-go-round rings, I watched as the men in blue and black drove by to attend to dreadful screams from the weapon held by the unknown. And ring, 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 there goes Bell's invention through the WhatsApp application, just notifying me that the Grand Reaper had caused a commotion. Who must it be? The messenger was a lady from one of my fantasies. I thought for a minute she was asking me to recap or rewind to that episode we had last time. But instead, she was just notifying me that, even lifetime might have a limitation. And I just couldn't help but think, damn, I was just a few hundred meters from death's vibration. Thank you. So that was the one I wrote yesterday while I was walking. I could not finish it. I was like, yeah, cool. Why do I feel like this?
Interesting.